Is this thing on? Am I really about to do this? Yeah, it's about that time.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
It's Lola Divine giving you your weekly dose of girl talk, helping you remember who the fuck you are. Welcome to the Pink Seat. I am Lola Divine, and you are now in the Pink Seat. Make sure you like and subscribe so you can be one of the first ones to get notifications on the new episodes. We are on episode number 3. What about your friends? Friends. How many of us have them? Friends. I have some really good friendships. I have some really good relationships in my life that I'm extremely grateful for. And I think that now that I am out of the state of codependency on my friends, I am able to be a better friend to them as well. I have spent a lot of my life promoting the sisterhood, promoting some type of camaraderie between women, but I haven't always been the best friend. And not that I haven't been the best friend because I've done foul shit, because to me, that's the basics. I am not going to tell your business. I am not going to hurt your feelings. I'm not going to steal from you. I'm not going to tell you things that hurt you. I'm not going to sleep with your man. I'm not going to take opportunities out of your mouth. I'm not jealous. I'm not envious. I am not any of the things that will constitute somebody being foul or someone violating somewhere else. I'm not that. But there has been moments in my friendships when I have been clingy, or I have been defensive, or I have been codependent. That shit does not only extend to the intimate relationships that we have, levels of codependency. Codependencies can also thrive in our friendships. And I think it's important to recognize that friendships are relationships. We keep trying to separate it because it makes us feel better. I'm able to say,
oh, well, that's my man, so I was able to do this.
No. Relationships are relationships. And how you do one thing in life is usually how you're going to do something else. So how you're going to hold this relationship is how you're going to hold the other one. And where I have fucked up in friendships is that there is that mommy wound that makes me try to find a piece of my mother in every woman around me. Aww. And that's something that I'm actively working through. And I think I am finally at the point where those friendships, those relationships are all gone. So, I got a story, because a bitch always got a story. But I share these stories with you because I want you to hear it as if it's a parable. I want you to hear it as if I am trying to break it down into layman's terms as to what I'm talking about, why I'm talking about, how it affected me, and how I kind of pushed past it. And there's a tale of 2 women that were in my life who are no longer friends of mine. And I'm happy with that at this point. When it first happened, I was a little hurt. But I'm now at a place where I'm grateful for that, because as I continue to ask God to remove the things that don't fit me, remove the people that are no longer aligned with where I'm going, to release me from the feelings of inferiority, to release me from the feelings of I'm not good enough. Sometimes those feelings of you not being good enough is because you're around people that continue to remind you that you need to be better. Sometimes you're around people that can't just tell you that you are who you are and that's enough. There's always someone around telling you, you should do this better. You should move this way better. You shouldn't do it like that. You should do it like this. This ain't the right way. That's the wrong way. And how can you thrive in an environment that never recognizes your talents? That never recognizes the things that you do bring to the table that is beautiful? That shit is hurtful, especially because in those friendships, for me at least, because we're going to keep hearing these conversations about my man or my friend. Girl, can't we all just get along? Can't we all just get along? So you're going to have these conversations, but today as we talk about friendships, I want to acknowledge the fact that me trying to search for a mom figure in every relationship that I've had has caused rifts in some of the friendships that I've had. These flowers are so beautiful. Someone gifted these forever flowers to me. You guys know my favorite color is pink, of course. Pink promotes friendship, self-love, femininity. These are the things that I really want to embody and I really want to work on being better at. I want to work on shedding some of that thug life and being more feminine. I want to work on how to continue to love on myself in my own love language and be able to accept the love that other people are giving me because I've already told myself that I'm worthy of it. I want to be able to be a better friend, to be a better listener, to be less defensive, to be able to speak my mind without fear, because also in not doing that, that causes resentments. And now friendships decline because of that. So I pulled out these flowers because when we are not healing the traumas that we're dealing with and we compress them onto our friendships, they get ugly. If I took this amazing bottle of wine and I continued to press it down on these flowers, they would no longer be as beautiful as they are. The weight of that wine bottle would crush the flowers. And not to completely absolve anyone of any guilt in the friendships that I was in, but to be able to take accountability for what I had done, I realized that I might have been just a little bit too heavy for some of the friendships that I was in. Especially considering that some of the friendships I was in, they weren't even able to process their own shit. So to have to take mine on too, and then judge me for what I'm going through when I am also seeing their own flaws. And now I'm telling them that maybe your flaws aren't the best. How are you going to tell me about me when you're you? Well, bitch, I'd have never told you about you if you weren't constantly telling me about you. So that's what I've learned about friendships and how the codependent behaviors can kind of weigh on those friendships. And again, when I sit myself in the pink seat, the purpose of the pink seat is for us to hold ourselves accountable. The purpose of the pink seat is for me to, things that hurt you, I'm not going to sleep with your man. I'm not going to take opportunities out of your mouth. I'm not jealous. I'm not envious. I am not any of the things that will constitute somebody being foul or someone violating somewhere else. I'm not that. But there has been moments in my friendships when I have been clingy, or I have been defensive, or I have been check myself on some shit that maybe I didn't check myself on lately. Maybe I didn't really acknowledge the part that I had to play in it. And I was raised that way. I was raised by a grandmother that said, well, what could you have done differently for the outcome to be different? So as I acknowledge the friendships that might have ended, the friendships that transitioned, the friendships that just fell by the wayside, I can acknowledge that some of my shit had a part to play in it. Fair enough. The friendships that we hold, though, we hold them in the same space that we've watched our parents hold their friendships in. So if you grew up watching your parents have huge parties, everyone's coming over, she's cooking all the time, they're coming over, they drinking, they carrying on, they hanging out, those are the friendships that you are most likely going to replicate. You're going to have those parties. You're going to have those hangouts. You're going to have a house full of people. You're going to be cooking for everybody. It's going to be a backyard party. You're going to do all of that because that's what you're used to. If you are seeing your parents not accept guests, I don't really want nobody in my house like that. Yes, I have friends, but we don't got to be together every day. Yes, I have friends, but I don't want nobody in my bed. Like, I remember growing up, oh my God. Oh, my grandmother just came to me so hard. I remember growing up and me and all my friends came home from school and my grandmother had the best room in the house. I mean, duh, like usually the parent has the best room in the house because it's the master bedroom. And we were all in her bed watching TV and hanging because that's what we would do at my friend Diamond's house. Diamond's mom, she didn't really care about shit like that, but we would be in her room, we'd be in her office, we'd be in her bed, we'd be doing whatever, and she'd come in and be like, y'all hungry? I'm gonna make y'all something to eat, or I bought some food, Diamond cooked for them. Like, that's what I wanted. And my grandmother came home one day and me and all my girlfriends were in my grandmother's bed, my besties, we were in high school, and after she kicked everybody out, she was like, I fucking come home and you got all them heifers in my bed? And I'm like, heifers, these are my friends. So now, as an adult, as a parent, if I fucking came home and Tahir had him and his little friends in my bed, or Corey had her and her friends in my bed, I might feel a little bit violated too, because that's what I was raised on. There's something really significant about the ability to be able to just crawl up in your mom's bed. That's a level of intimacy that when my mom died when I was 4 years old, I no longer had. So when I have a friend that I can just go to her house and get up in her bed, oh girl, we are besties. Because I need that in my life, because I did not always have that. So our friendships are kind of shaped by our lives' experiences. And if we have experienced some traumatic shit, then it might fall into our friendships. So again, while it does not absolve someone else of what they contributed to the demise of the friendship, it allows us to see where we can grow and be just a little bit better for the next level of friendships. I'm in a different space in my life. The friendships that ended back then, they don't really have any place in where I am now. I don't know where they are. I don't know where their lives are, but I know that who I am based off of what I remember of that friendship could not have carried with me right now. I am literally free of all codependent relationships that I had over the course of my life. This is the freest I've been in my level of friendships. I don't need to speak to you every day. I don't need to see you every day. I don't need to tell you my waking moment. I don't need to tell you, girl, my head was itchy. I don't need to share so much of myself because I'm not looking for anyone to fulfill that motherly role. I am now working on being the best mother I can be for myself. I am working on mothering the little girl in me. I'm working on mothering the little girl that's in the room sleeping right now. So now that all of those friendships have gone, it's kind of forced me to grow up. Last episode, I kept talking about, sometimes I just want to be the baby. But baby, you're no longer the baby. And you're going to have to figure out a way to deal with the fact that a part of your story is what it is. There is no turning back what God has saw fit for your story to be. But how are you going to shape the course of your life? What are you going to do moving forward? Everyone on this planet needs companionship. You are not an island. You are not alone. And that feeling of being alone is detrimental to your health. Let's be honest. Do you really think that you could survive this earth without anyone? The people that don't have friendships, don't you see that there's some level of weirdness, social anxiety, awkwardness? Because we were born to have a companion. There's a reason why God gave Adam Eve. I wonder if that seems to be a justification for some women and why they think that fuck their girlfriends. They rather just be with the man because in their mind, biblically speaking, God gave man a woman and didn't give woman a woman. But that's a whole nother thought process. Our friendships are shaped by what we've seen. My friendships are shaped by what I'd seen. My grandmother had a strong core of women. When my grandmother passed away in 2016, first of all, she had the who's who at her funeral. There were some top dogs that are high up in politics in this moment that called my grandmother auntie that were at her funeral. But what she had more importantly than that was about 10 to 15 women that were her core group. And I didn't think it was possible. I'm going to be honest with you. I remember having a bunch of friends. I don't even know if we were all friends, but we were all in a circle. And it was about 13 to 15 of us. And let's be clear, we didn't really like each other like that. It's kind of hard for there to be 13 to 15 people that are all in the same circle that all really like each other. That's difficult. But my grandmother had a group of women that, although they might not have all, if she had Jean, if she had Janine, if she had Blondell, if she had, she had a real tight-knit circle, but they might not have always spoke to each other. So Jean and Janine might not have talked all the time. Blondell and Lonnie might not have been speaking all the time, but they all knew of each other, and the love that they had for my grandmother allowed them to be so tight. And when her funeral came, they walked in as her sisters during a procession. That is something that I admire. But growing up, what I saw on TV was your besties were always at your house. Your friends were always at your house. Your sisters were always at your house. You were always with your mom. It was like a big family of close-knit people. And because I didn't necessarily have that, I craved that in all of the friendships that I had. So on one side, it's like I pigeonhole the friendships into being a one-size-fits-all when that's not fair. But on the other side, it's like I almost pigeonhole these friendships into being something that just was not sustainable. but I didn't realize that it wasn't a sustaining factor. To me, you were not just my friend, you were my sister. So if we fought, if we argued, if we got into it, that happens on TV all the time. Bird and Terry from Soul Food, they always fought. And, Big Mama got them back together. But in real life, when you don't have that familial tie, there's nothing keeping you there. I've prided myself on being a good friend. I've prided myself on being able to say, there is not one person that can come to you and tell you that Lauren has not been a good friend to them. But it's almost like being in a relationship with a man and saying, he doesn't beat me. He doesn't cheat on me. He pays the bills. He's always home. I mean, those are the fucking bare minimum, right? That's the bare minimum. He shouldn't be beating you, sis. He shouldn't be cheating on you and putting your vaginal health at risk. He should be providing, because that is what the role of the man in your relationship is taking on. He should be taking out the trash, because that is the masculine energy that we want in our homes, right? But what else? What is his character? What are his low points? How does he deal with you when he's upset? How does he speak to you when he's happy? How does he address you in comparison to how he addresses other women in his life? Is he the person that's going to make sure all the women in his life are getting along? I mean, those are more important things. So whereas I always said I was a very good friend, that's because in my mind, I'm extremely loyal. I don't violate. I don't steal from my friends. I don't sleep with my friends' mans. I don't tell my friends' business. I am a listening ear. I need you. I'll give you my last. I give good gifts. I mean, on and on can go in terms of what makes me a good friend. But what made me a friend that might not have been good for the dynamic of the relationship was me searching for mommy in all of them, because that is a heavy burden to lay on someone that just wants to be able to see the goodness in you. If you're always sad because mommy's not here, when can we enjoy ourselves? If you're always looking for mommy in me, you're holding me to a pedestal that I just cannot reach. And then when I'm not able to reach that pedestal, now you're angry with me. Those are the things that I've realized now, looking back, that I brought to friendships that could have affected them greatly. Is there a difference between friendships and relationships? I don't think so. We have this constant conversation between men and women, but I really think it's based on where you are with the man, daddy, and the woman, mommy, in your life. For you to have such a disdain for women, there's something there. For you to have such a disdain against men, there's something there. And it's usually stemming from that baby in us, that little girl, that little boy that was not able to be heard or to feel validated. Now we're looking for that elsewhere. So for me, my mom was gone when I was 4 years old. And I've spent a lifetime trying to find her in everyone else. Even down to my girlfriend that braids my hair. She has those thumb-sucking teeth. Those, I hate the word buck teeth. It sounds so ugly, but she has those thumb-sucking buck teeth. My mother had those thumb-sucking buck teeth. I love her face. I just look at her face and I'm like, she's so beautiful. And she is beautiful, but she reminds me of my mom. Because what we see on TV a lot plays a part too. If you're growing up in a house and you don't have these things and you're watching on TV, The Cosby Show, how amazing that family was. You're watching My Wife and Kids, how funny and playful and pranky that family was. You're watching A Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, how somebody literally put their life on hold to take in another child and raise them. These are the things I grew up seeing. So I'm thinking that this is a sense of normalcy that everything should be about. So for me, being raised in a house alone, even though I have siblings on my dad's side, I was raised by my maternal grandmother, and it was just me and her. And she had her own shit that she was dealing with, right? But I don't know that at 4 years old, at 6 years old, at 8 years old, at 15 years old, at 17 years old. I don't know that shit until 3, 4, 5 years ago, when I'm trying to process why she couldn't be for me what I needed her to be, when she was trying to figure out who she was to begin with. So I watched her friendships and I watched them be solid, but I didn't watch them be every day. And I think my grandmother had gotten to a place in her life where she was content being alone, knowing that she had reliable people. That's what we look for in friendships. We want to look for reliability. We want to look for dependability. We want to look for a soft touch with a firm hand. We want to look for someone that can embrace your flaws and encourage you to do better, but not talk at you, but talk with you. I mean, there's so many things that we look for in friendships that it passes just it being a vibe check. Okay, cool. We could party together. What else? Okay, cool. We can go shopping together. What else? Okay, cool. I like your car. What else? A lot of the friendships that I see now are superficial. You're cute. I'm cute. You got 100,000 followers. I got 100,000 followers. We can help each other build brands. And that is beautiful, right? Because you do want to be useful. You don't want to be useless. But what more are we giving these friendships? We're pulling because now we lean on these people as our emotional dumpsters. We lean on these people as our emotional sounding boards because we're not willing to do the work and seek therapy. So the two friendships I want to talk about, I actually wanted to talk to them. And I want to talk to them in a public setting because I'm never going to talk to them again. And when I was writing my notes, two questions popped up at me. And there was one for each of them, right? It was a question for each of them that popped up at me. I always wanted to ask Diamond, how come you love that man more than me? And he didn't even like you. He didn't like you. He didn't want to be with you. He didn't make any commitments to you. You were a fuck. You were another notch on his belt. You were something to do. I've been in your life all of our life. Damn near, right? Because we've been friends. We were friends since we were 14. I'd been in your life all of our life. I'd stuck with you through thick and thin, with nigga after nigga, with situation after situation, with apartment after apartment. I mean, I'd been there for a lot of things. But when it came down to it, you were so dismissive of me and our friendship. But this man you chased around. Why did you love that man more than you loved me and our friendship? And I say that from a place of, there's no nigga that could come before my friends. Now, it could be the value system. It could be because of the fact that I would never abandon someone, because there's somewhere in me that feels like the little girl in me was abandoned. Even though my mom didn't want to die, she did. So for me, I'm never going to leave my friends. I might not like you today, and you said that to me. Sometimes it feels like you don't like me. Well, damn it, sometimes I didn't. But I loved you as my sister. Sometimes I don't like my own biological sister. Sometimes she does not like me. But I love her as my sister, and I put you into that role. But you didn't see me. I've been a Capricorn all our friendship. And you were fucking this nigga for a couple of months, and all of a sudden it became, now I see why you are like you are, because he's a Capricorn and he's the same way. Bitch, what? I was so offended when you said that to me. And I think because I never spoke on that offense, that maybe a little bit of resentment was brewing. These are things that I didn't pay attention to. So Diamond was dealing with a lot of shit on her own. And here go I dealing with my shit and trying to heap it onto my friend shit. And there goes me trying to deal with my own shit and her trying to heap it onto me. And it just seemed like instead of pouring into each other, we dumped into each other. And then the fun parts of us, we gave to other people. Because I can't be both the fun and the weight. I can't be both the fun and the rain. I can't listen to you cry and break down and tell you the things that you need to hear, and then you not see me and consistently think of that all the time. Diamond, there was even a point when you would say things to friends, to your guy friends, like, please, I don't fuck with bitches. I don't hang with, you know me, I'll cut a bitch off in a heartbeat. And this guy that you were pining away for so bad, you asked him like, but why? Why won't you just be with me? And even he said to you, I see how quickly you are to dismiss your friends. What makes me so special? Whew. That shit really ate you up. And I really hope over the course of these years, you've been able to channel why that is what it is. This question of Do I give my friend, do I extend my friend the same level of grace or no, let me say it how it's said on social media. You bitches love forgiving a nigga over and over and over again, but let your friend do one thing and you cut that friend off. And then you'll have women saying, well, my friend ain't dicking me down like that. She's not providing the oxytocin. She's not providing the dopamine. She ain't spending money. She not doing all of that. And then you'll have the other side, me, say something to the effect of, yeah, well, when that nigga decide he don't feel like giving you no more oxytocin or no more dopamine, and he don't feel like buying you shit no more, you're going to be running that ass right back to that friend that you did not want to extend any grace to. This is a conversation that is not only a conversation that I'm tired of hearing about, it's something that I'm tired of seeing in friendships. And it's something that has happened to me several times. And as much as I'm able to kind of just like pick up and move on, it's very fucking hurtful. And because of that, it makes this a difficult topic for me to talk about. Because I ain't really finished working through that shit yet. So we're going to take this journey together. Because I've noticed some things about myself. And I've noticed the patterns the generational patterns. I've noticed how my grandmother dealt with friendships and how she dealt with what she called the sisterhood kind of pours into how I deal with it. You know what I've noticed though? Let me tell you something. A lot of girls like me because I'm cool. I'm cool as fuck. And because I promote girlhood, I promote girl power, I promote the sisterhood, I promote friendship, I promote women's unity, us sticking together, I promote us dealing with the same shit. So why am I beefing with you? Why am I beefing with you when you bleed every month just like I bleed? There needs to be some level of connection and relatability that allows us to give each other empathy. So I'm very big on that. But what I've noticed about some of you hoes, some of you bitches like me until you realize your nigga likes me. Some of you bitches only like me until you realize your nigga likes me. Some of y'all only decide you want to actually befriend me once you realize that your man wants to befriend me. Because you think because I'm so gung-ho about the sisterhood that I'm just going to say that he's off limits. And I have a problem with that. I have a problem with it because before I'm your quote unquote sister, I'm a woman first. And the same way that your nigga like me, baby, I might like him too. So rather than you trying to establish a genuine friendship with me, you now want to weaponize the sisterhood against me because it helps you in your level of esteem. I don't like that. I don't like that. That's happened to me far too many times. Somebody might not have ever had a one-on-one with me, have ever broken bread with me, have ever had any type of, how are you? Is everything good with you? Oh, you weren't able to do this? Sorry to hear that. What's going on? You've never even extended courtesy to me as a woman. But now, because we might have had one or two conversations and you find out that your man likes me, now it's like, oh my God, you like my friend. Girl, I'm not your friend. You know how long it took me to recognize that just because I'm for the sisterhood doesn't mean that every woman is my sister? That's a lot. That's a lot. Lydia, this is a different dynamic for me because I'd met you when I was with Child and we were with Child together. And what started off as such a solid friendship, I look back now and realize you too were just another mommy figure to me. You two were somebody that I needed in that moment. And maybe that's all it was. Maybe you were only meant to be there in that time because I was in a place where I needed your strength. Because it seems as if once I started to find strength in myself, once I no longer was needing you to help fix me, once I'd started going to therapy, once I'd started journaling, once I started doing things that you'd often suggested in the beginning of our friendship, all of a sudden it became, I don't feel the love in this friendship anymore. I really don't feel like you love me. How is it that when I started loving myself, you no longer felt that I loved you? Does that mean that our friendship was only based off of your need to feel needed, your need to feel important? Did I make you feel so large by making myself so small that once I grew into position, it was no longer good for you? I would travel back and forth damn near to Philly every couple of months to see you, and I would have events and you wouldn't even show up. And then because I missed a couple of events, because at that point I felt like, okay, well, if our friendship is not based on how we are there for each other physically, then I don't need to exert myself to be there just to prove my friendship to you. Now all of a sudden you don't feel the love. That's really hurtful to me. There's something in me that you subconsciously wanted to replicate. And it is going to be very difficult for you to replicate someone's life while still being in it. I think you stopped liking me. I think you stopped liking me because you liked everything about me. And I'm asking these questions because I don't know if there's something in me that I give off, right? Because there has to be a common denominator. But then there's also 25 other women that see me for what I bring of value. There's 25 other women that want to see me in my growth and in my grow era that I don't have these problems with. And I think what it is the level of codependency you get when you are with someone nonstop, when you are talking every day, when you are in each other's face every day. There are going to be pinpoints in the friendship that just,
5 minutes later.
I just wanted to be loved. I didn't want to be by myself. And I was lonely. It was just me and my grandmother, and there was a 47-year age difference. And although my grandmother was the ex-wife of a Colombian drug lord, although she had been a woman that used to be backing out on niggas, although she used to be the one that used to have $100 bills stuffed underneath the mattress, at some point she stopped seeing me in her, or she stopped seeing her in me, whichever one it was. So it was a very lonely time. And my mom died, and she immediately took me to St. Croix, and we lived there for a while. So all of my mom's friends that were like my aunties, I lost touch with them. My physical aunt, my mother's sister, I lost touch with her. And my grandmother wasn't able to give me that level of love and affection that I really needed to thrive and to feel good about myself. And anytime another woman would come around and kind of gave me that, she felt as if it would make me leave her. So she wouldn't let me be around those people. But what I had was my friends. I had my high school friends, and those were my besties. I had my elementary school friends, and those were my besties. Those were my sisters. And I don't cry because those friendships are over. I cry because I'm looking at that little girl who just wanted to feel included and to feel a part of something.